What's going on, everybody? Is Casual Cooks with Joe, Jawan, Joe, whatever you want to call it, but just don't call me. So I'm gonna go ahead and get things kicked off. What we gonna do today? We're gonna keep it real simple. We're gonna go chicken tenders, like honey hot chicken tenders and fries. So real basic, but we're gonna keep it casual. That's one thing about me. I'm gonna always make sure I just keep things casual. What I do is I eat things I want to eat. I cook things I want to eat. So that's how I'm gonna go ahead and rock with it today. We're gonna start that off. We're gonna hit that off, and then we're gonna uh, we're gonna rock with that. So we're gonna just keep it casual. We're gonna go from there. Let's get into it. All right. So what we're gonna do is to a pot with medium high heat. We're gonna go ahead and crack open some vegetable oil. Obviously, there's different oils out there that you can use. You can use peanut oil. You can use canola oil. I wouldn't necessarily recommend olive oil when it comes to like deep frying anything, or even like not necessarily deep frying, but even when it comes to like pan frying or anything like that, anything's gonna be slightly submerged. I wouldn't necessarily recommend no no olive oil. That might be a little much. But go ahead and fill that. Not necessarily fill it up, but put a good amount of oil in there until it's just it'll be able to cover at least half to the entirety of that whatever you're cooking. In this case, it's gonna be chicken tenders. So while that heat up, we'll just kind of uh, let that play a role in there. It'll be a while, but patience is gonna always be key when it comes to cooking. So we got chicken tenders has been sitting overnight, about 24 hours, marinating in buttermilk with different seasons that we're gonna use. For this, we went ahead and used paprika, onion powder, black pepper, a little bit of Famous Dave's chicken rub seasoning. We did it lightly salted, and then we also put a little bit of Tony's Creole seasoning in there. Let that sit in there with a little bit of hot sauce, a little bit of Frank's Red Hot, and just kind of let that marinate. Let that flavor get on there. We're gonna go ahead and get our flour batter set up. So we're gonna put some all-purpose flour in here. We're gonna go ahead and just run with it. Wasn't too much left, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop that in there. That's gonna be good for a good little crisp. But what I'm gonna do behind that is go ahead and season that with the same season. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some of that chicken rub in there. This is low key a hit. I'm not gonna lie, I've been using this for a lot of years. That chicken rub is something for sure that will sneak up on you with a good amount of flavor. This Tony's too. That got a little kick to it. You got to be careful with this Tony's. If you're not careful, you will sneeze multiple times. So for sure, kind of be on the lookout when you're using that. Use a good amount of this onion powder. That's something that you're gonna be using just about whenever you cook. So always keep that handy. Some garlic powder. You got to be careful with that garlic powder because you don't want to ever kind of overpower it when it comes to like the flavor you're putting in there. Put some of that black pepper in there. Lightly salt. Gotta be real careful when it comes to that salt. So you don't want to put too much in there, but you do want to use salt. As much as I hate to say it, but that salt does play a huge role in changing the flavor in some food. Just got to be real cautious. And then hit a little bit of that paprika in there. After you get that all mixed together, and that's going to create what you want as that dry batter. And you want to really work into it to the point where it changes the color of that flour. that dry batter. Once that color changes, then you working with something. What I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna switch these, but I'm gonna take the tenders out of the wet batter, kind of let that drip a little bit. Then I'm gonna drop them over into that dry batter, and then I'm gonna let that kind of soak up. Get some of that flour on there. Get some of that dry batter, and then I'm gonna take that out. Knock off any excess dry batter or flour, and then I'm gonna let that sit for a little bit, and then I'm gonna just do that with each one. I ain't gonna go too crazy today. I think we might be making a quick little six piece chicken select, old school McDonald days, but the casual way. Make sure you get every crevice of that submerged. Then again, set that aside. I'm kind of pushing through it as far as dripping them and letting them kind of sit. What I would recommend is be patient with it. Obviously, I'm doing this right now. I got a little hunger to me, so I'm waiting on dinner. So when I do this, it's for survival. I know a lot of people think about like, why do people cook? Why do people do this? Why did you even get in cooking? That's for sure something I should start talking about a little bit more. But what I like to do is cook to eat. Like I love food. I love having those situations. I love having those times to kind of taste food. And what better way to do that than kind of prepare it yourself, make it yourself. So that's for sure something I've been getting into for a lot of years now. So before we drop the chicken, a good way to check and see if that oil is hot enough, you can stick in a chopstick and see how it bubbles. So if you stick that in there, you see those bubbles rising. It's a good sign that it might be ready. Sometimes what you can do is add them in pretty much like size wise. You want to add the bigger ones first because sometimes it'll take a little bit longer to cook. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop these. And the bubbles was right. They was ready. Go ahead and place those in there and kind of let them sit. The key to making sure you don't blow shit up, or the key to making sure you don't really blow nothing up or whatever, is letting those letting those dry. Once you get that wet batter on there, kind of let them sit for a little bit. That way, it's not a lot of excess buttermilk. Uh, for wet batter, like casing the place. So kind of let those set up, let those dry, and then you can drop those in there fully. Might have a little bit of room in here for one more. While that fries up, what we're gonna do is start working on that sauce. All right, so as we get this sauce going, what we're gonna do is start off by melting some butter, melting some butter off in it. So me, I like a good amount of butter. I think it works a lot for everything. So what I'm gonna do is crack things off with a half a stick of butter. and let that melt down. Sometimes this could take a little minute, so you got to have a little bit of patience. Kind of slick that around. Let that start doing what it's going to do. But as you do that, you want to put some of that Frank's Red Hot in there. Kind of get that going also. Like I mentioned earlier, I ain't the biggest fan when it comes to the hot stuff. So while that kind of starts to work in, we're gonna go ahead and check in over on the chicken tenders and get those flipped. So we starting to see some of that good brown color that we was looking for. So we can kind of check in on them. Actually, since these are for the most part good and submerged, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna work on the ones that aren't submerged. Make sure we get those in there, get those flipped, and the ones that are submerged, we're just gonna kind of let them rock out for another 4 minutes. But we're gonna check on them and make sure everything is good though. So now that we got this starting to heat up, we're gonna turn that temperature down a little bit, and we're gonna get it activated with some of this here honey. And don't be shy with the honey, cause like I mentioned earlier, I like a little sweetness on my sauces. So I'm gonna get a generous amount of honey, cause it is hot honey. So I ain't gonna play around with it. And while that simmers, I'm gonna go ahead and start to mix that up a little bit. The butter gonna get in there. I probably end up putting a little bit more of that Frank's in there, honestly. But that's just as far as like getting a good color in. But we'll see after this butter start melting up good. While that starts to simmer up a little bit more, I'm gonna go right behind it with a couple of these pieces of brown sugar. Ideally, they'd be broken up and in that sugar form, but we know how sugar get, especially brown sugar. Sometimes that it clumps up, and we just kind of work with it. That brown sugar is gonna give it a little bit more, give it a little bit more sweet sweetness to that flavor than just that regular hot honey. So we're gonna sit and let that kind of work up a little bit more. As we look at the tenders, they starting to get that good brown texture to them, that good golden brown. So what we're gonna do is, so we can let those sit for just a little bit more. Flip them over if they haven't been flipped already. They playing around. That little dude just about ready too. What's looking like? Oh, big dog cooling right there. Oh yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these out. That's a good golden brown complexion we looking for. Get those into a container with a napkin because you don't want that grease to be dripping too much. It's gonna be a little drip, but you don't want it too crazy. So you're gonna see this starting to thicken up real good light. Oh yeah. So that's what we look to get. You can smell that spice to it though. I ain't gonna lie. I might have to put a little bit more butter in there just to knock some of that off, but let me get that all mixed up and kind of see what it tastes like. Give it a little. It got a little after kick to it. Damn. I told y'all I don't really like that spice like that too much. This hot honey be good. So what I'm gonna do is put a little bit more honey in there. Just a little bit more of that honey. Let that work. You know that spice kicking up when you start getting the sniffles. I feel like that brown sugar was really that game changer when it came to this. Oh yeah, I can already tell. Give that another little taste. Oh yeah, that's just where I want it to be. So this good. This done. All right. So now we're gonna take that sauce and we're gonna pour it over those tenders. Oh yeah. Now you want to take and mix those up. That's kind of how you want them to start looking right there. Oh yeah. All right. So we went ahead and did it. I know I was gonna do the fries, but I'm not gonna lie. I got going and I was ready. So we stopped at the chicken tenders. We might do some fries, but we do fries with a lot of stuff. So we gonna get some fries on in action one of these days. But hot honey chicken tenders, good little setup. Extra honey. Let's see what they're hitting for. Yeah, that's what we was looking for. Not too hot for me at least. And if I'm saying not too hot, that's a good thing. Nice, good, spicy and sweet balance. Sauce not too runny. I know most people like to. I'm getting I'm getting caught up on the actual taste of it, but most people like to go ahead and add ranch. Me, I don't do the ranch, so obviously I'm gonna go with the sauce that's provided in there, but still a good crunch to it. Oh yeah, Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, appreciate y'all staying tuned, especially if you got all the way through the video. If you got all the way through the video, that means you enjoyed yourself. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe button. I'm gonna be coming to y'all more often, getting some content out there, putting some good eats out there. So, stay tuned, stay along that journey. Casual Cooks, Casual Cooks with Joe. Love the channel. Stick with it. We're gonna rock out. All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all. Take care.